picture this, right? You're walking through the massive 2024 Beijing Motor Show. It is the biggest, most important car event in the world.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge deal.
Right. So you walk up to the main stage, and you are expecting to see a standard, very serious presentation from, some of the oldest, proudest car brands in history.
Yeah, the usual corporate speeches.
Exactly. But instead, you see executives from Volkswagen performing an interpretive Chinese dance set to electronic music.
I mean, it is such a bizarre image. And the surprises didn't even stop there.
Wait, really?
Yeah. You also had executives from Mercedes stepping up to the microphone and performing a Chinese rap.
Oh, wow.
That flawlessly switching between English and Mandarin.
That is just wild. And, that bizarre visual brings us directly to the core of today's deep dive. Why are the proudest, most traditional car brands in the world suddenly bending over backwards to act like Chinese tech startups?
Well, simply put, it's because we are witnessing a complete reversal of how the global car industry has worked for the last century. I mean, the old masters are basically becoming the students.
Right. So today, for you listening, we are exploring this massive role reversal. We want to look at why legacy giants, the famous Western car brands you probably see every single day, are desperately trying to copy their Chinese rivals.
That is a huge shift.
It really is. We are going to break down exactly how a concept called China speed actually works on the factory floor. And most importantly, we will look at the massive, perhaps even fatal risks these legacy companies are taking just to survive.
Because it is a fascinating story about survival. And honestly, it completely changes how you need to think about the car you drive.
Yeah. So let's start with the data, because the numbers in the research are just staggering. We are looking at an absolute collapse of Western dominance.
It really is a collapse.
Just to give you an example, the market share for foreign car companies in China has almost cut in half in just 5 years. It dropped all the way down to about 30% heading into 2025.
And, that is their most important global market. Losing that much ground that quickly is practically unheard of in this industry.
Right. And they aren't just losing inside China. The data shows China actually overtook Japan in 2023 to become the world's largest car exporter.
Oh, yeah. The export numbers are massive.
Exactly. By 2025, they were sending over 8 million vehicles abroad in a single year. And look at Europe alone. In just 5 years, Chinese car brands went from practically 0% of the market to almost 9% of all sales.
And they are taking over in Mexico, Brazil, Indonesia. They are everywhere now.
Exactly. So basically, this isn't just losing a small lead. This is like the reigning heavyweight boxing champion getting completely knocked out by a rookie. What exactly is the secret weapon here?
Well, the secret weapon is a fundamental shift in what a car actually is. It's not just about an engine anymore. It's about making affordable cars, but building them entirely around high-tech software.
Okay, but cars have GPS and touchscreens now. Are you saying the software is the main selling point, not just a fun little add-on?
Exactly. Let's break that down. Think about how a traditional car is built. A legacy car uses dozens of separate tiny computers. They call them electronic control units.
Okay.
So one little computer controls the brakes. A completely different one controls the air conditioning. Another one controls the radio.
Oh, wow. So they're all separated.
Right. And they barely talk to each other. It's a very fragmented system. But Chinese car makers realized very early that cars needed to become centralized computers on wheels.
Wait, explain that to me. Centralized how?
Well, they partnered with local technology giants, the companies that make smartphones and apps. Instead of dozens of isolated computers, they use one massive central supercomputer to run the entire car.
Oh, I see. So basically what this means is they started treating the car exactly like a giant smartphone.
Yes, precisely. And because of that centralized brain, the software can do incredible things. We're talking about fully integrated, voice-controlled artificial intelligence systems.
So not just asking the car to change the radio station.
No, much more advanced. You speak naturally and say, I am a little cold, and there's a lot of traffic ahead. And the AI instantly turns up the heat on your specific seat, adjusts the suspension for a smoother ride, and reroutes the navigation.
That is wild.
Yeah. And the software is the primary reason people are buying these cars.
Right. That makes total sense. The mechanical parts are just there to move the software around. Okay. But if software is the secret weapon, why can't a giant company like Volkswagen or Ford just write their own software? I mean, they have billions of dollars in the bank.
Because building that kind of software takes a specific culture. And more importantly, it takes a specific kind of speed. This actually brings us to a huge time gap between the two sides.
Right. The concept the industry calls China speed.
Exactly.
China speed was honestly one of the most fascinating concepts in the sources. What's crazy is the timeline difference.
Yeah.
A legacy Western car maker takes roughly 40 to 80 months to develop a new car model.
Which is an absolute eternity in the technology world.
Yeah, that is up to nearly 7 years.
Right. Just think about how much smartphones change in 7 years.
Exactly. But in China, the data shows it takes 24 months. Maximum. So basically, by the time a Western company finishes testing the blueprints for a new car, a Chinese company has already built their car, sold it, and updated its software wirelessly.
Precisely. Because of this massive difference, the technology inside foreign cars is usually 2 or more years behind their Chinese rivals on the exact day the car rolls off the dealer lot.
But wait, how does that actually work on the factory floor? Is China speed just about making engineers work longer hours, or is there a structural difference going on?
Oh, it is entirely structural. It's not a magic trick. Legacy car makers are stuck in a bureaucratic mindset from decades ago. They design a part, then they send it to a supplier, then they wait for a prototype, then they test it.
So it's a very sequential step-by-step process.
Exactly. But Chinese companies were built from the ground up to make electric vehicles. From day one, they used a system of parallel engineering, and they combined that with something called deep vertical integration.
Okay, I want to pause on deep vertical integration. That sounds a bit dense. How does that actually speed up the assembly line in real life?
Let's use a simple everyday technology analogy.
Yeah.
Think about the difference between Apple building a laptop versus a legacy computer maker.
Okay, sure.
A traditional PC maker has to buy chips from Intel, a graphics card from NVIDIA, and the operating system from Microsoft. So if they want to change how the laptop works, they have to wait for all 3 of those separate companies to agree and update their products.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a logistical nightmare.
It is. It is so slow. But vertical integration is the Apple model. They design their own computer chips, they write their own operating system, and they build their own hardware. They control the entire stack.
Ah, I see.
And Chinese EV startups do the exact same thing with cars. They make their own batteries, they write their own software, they build their own electric motors.
Oh, so when they want to change a feature, they just do it internally. They don't have to wait 6 months for an outside supplier to send them a new part.
Exactly. They control the whole process, which allows them to move at China's speed.
Wait, though. Oliver Bloom, the boss of Volkswagen, actually argues against this in our sources.
Oh, yes. He has a very strong defense.
Yeah, he says Western brands take 40 to 80 months because they refuse to compromise on rigorous safety and testing. Aren't these Chinese startups just...
Yeah. They simulate the wear and tear of the battery virtually. So by the time they do the physical safety test, they already know the car will pass. They shrink the testing phase from years down to months.
And the legacy companies just do not have the software capability to do those advanced simulations.
Exactly. And more importantly, the market is moving so fast that consumers now view cars like consumer electronics. If your phone is missing the latest features, you don't buy it. So Western companies are losing market share, even if their cars have a century of mechanical engineering behind them.
Wow. But knowing that testing takes time and knowing their own software is lagging behind, these legacy brands are left with only one terrifying shortcut. They are teaming up with the exact same Chinese rivals that are beating them.
Right. And this is a drastic, historic change in their business models.
The scramble is happening everywhere. Volkswagen built a massive research and development facility in the Chinese city of the Hefei.
Yeah, a huge facility.
And their explicit goal is to work 30% faster. To do that, they are actually partnering with local Chinese startups like XPeng and an autonomous driving company called Horizon Robotics.
Yes, and that trend is spreading across the entire industry.
Right. Toyota is teaming up with Chinese tech giants like Huawei, Tencent, and Xiaomi. Even Renault, a French company that does not even sell cars in China, went all the way to China to develop their new Twingo model, just to save time and money.
They are going straight to the source of the innovation.
But stepping back for a second, simply put, this sounds like paying the smartest rival in your industry to do your homework for you. Aren't these massive, historically proud companies embarrassed to admit they can't build a modern car on their own?
In the past, absolutely. They would have been way too proud. But pride is a luxury you can only afford when you're winning. Right now, survival is the only factor. These legacy companies have finally accepted a very hard truth.
Which is what?
The old business model, designing a car in Germany or America and then expecting the rest of the world to just buy it, has had its day. It is over.
So they're just waving the white flag on software.
They really had no choice. And it isn't for a lack of trying. Take Volkswagen, for example. They realized software was the future, so they created a massive internal software division called Cariad.
Oh, right. I remember reading about that.
Yeah, they poured immense amounts of money into it.
Wait, so why did it fail? I mean, if you have the money, you just hire the best coders, right?
Well, because you cannot just place a software company inside a traditional manufacturing company. The cultures clash completely.
How so?
Traditional car engineers think in terms of rigid deadlines and unchangeable hardware.
Yeah.
But software developers think in terms of agile updates, constant changes, and fixing bugs on the fly.
Oh, so they just couldn't communicate with each other.
Exactly. The code became an absolute unmanageable mess. New car models were delayed for years simply because the software wasn't ready. So if your customers are demanding brilliant, fast software and your internal team completely fails to build it, you have to buy from the people who can.
Even if those people are your biggest competitors.
Exactly.
But that creates a massive danger zone, the Trojan horse. Because what happens when you rely entirely on your rival to do your homework? Eventually, you forget how to do the math yourself.
And this is the existential risk we really need to focus on. This isn't just about losing some profit margin. This is about whether these legacy brands will even exist in 20 years.
The industry analysts in our sources highlighted some really severe warnings. By relying on Chinese tech, legacy brands risk being, and this is a direct quote from the source, pushed to the passenger seat.
Which is exactly what is happening.
Let's look at Chevrolet. Right now, they are trying to sell electric vehicles in South America, but they are essentially just slapping the Chevrolet logo onto electric cars that are actually engineered and manufactured by their Chinese partner, SAIC.
Yes, they're basically buying a finished vehicle, putting a familiar sticker on the front, and calling it a Chevy.
And meanwhile, the Chinese partners aren't just staying at home. Startups like XPeng and Xiaomi are rapidly expanding into Europe. They want to sell their own cars directly to Western consumers.
Which means the Western brands are arming the very companies that are coming to take their market share.
Right. So here is my ultimate layman question about this whole strategy. If Toyota is using Huawei's operating system and Huawei's technology inside their car, what exactly is Toyota actually making anymore? Aren't these Western brands just funding their own replacements through licensing fees?
Honestly, that is the harsh reality. The short answer is yes, they're funding their own replacements.
Wow. How does that trap actually close on them, though?
Well, these legacy car makers are creating a dependency that is incredibly difficult to break. Let's go back to that smartphone analogy. When you buy a phone, you don't really care about who manufactured the physical plastic and glass. You care about the operating system. You care about iOS or Android.
Right. The value and the loyalty is entirely in the software.
Exactly. The software is where the profit is. So if a legacy car company says, we will just use Chinese software for the next 5 years until our internal teams catch up, they are making a massive gamble. Because to break free from that partnership later, the Western company must suddenly transform into a world-class software maker.
And we already know they completely failed at doing that with divisions like Cariad.
Precisely. By giving up their control over EV architecture and software today, they are giving away the only skills that actually matter for the future of transportation. They become hardware assemblers.
Just putting the plastic together.
Exactly. They are leaving themselves entirely at the mercy of the rivals they fear the most.
So they are essentially handing over the keys to the most important part of the car just to stay relevant for a few more years.
It is a short-term survival tactic with, frankly, devastating long-term implications.
Wow. So let's quickly recap this incredible journey. The biggest legacy car makers in the world are completely changing their identities. They're dropping their slow 80-month production cycles. They're desperately trying to learn China speed and parallel engineering.
Right.
And because they failed to build their own software, they're actively partnering with Chinese tech giants, basically paying their rivals to keep them alive during this EV revolution.
It is a profound shift in global industrial power. And I really want to connect this directly back to you, the listener. Think about your daily commute. The next time you sit in a brand new Western car, maybe a luxury German sedan or an American family SUV, you should realize something. Underneath that familiar, famous logo on the steering wheel, you might actually be driving a Chinese computer.
It really changes how you look at the badge on the front of a vehicle. Which leaves me with one final lingering question for you to ponder long after we finish today. If the entire future of the automobile is defined by its software and legacy car companies eventually stop making their own software, at what point does a legendary car manufacturer stop being a car maker and simply become a branding agency?